What is up, everybody? Today we finished the RAM module, which is this section, and we have 16 bytes of memory for our computer. And we also have the function to program it down here, shows us the contents. And this is our memory address register up here, so this is the memory address we're in, and this allows us to choose. And this is the memory address interface to the bus, and this is the RAM interface to the bus. We haven't hooked up the bus yet, but we permanently hooked the clock up here, and we just have this section done of the computer. So without further ado, let's get into it. So basically what we did is we made it possible for our computer to store data, and this is where we're going to be writing our programs in. So what happens is right here we have our selector between run mode, which is green, and red, which is program mode. So when we're in run mode, that means the computer can edit whatever's in the RAM, and that we can't do it with the dip switches here. But when we switch it over to program mode by flipping this switch, actually, this is program mode because it's red. When we flip it to program mode, that means we can change whatever is in our RAM. So up here, if we select a certain memory address, right now we're at memory address 0, and that is what is in memory address 0. But if we go up here and we want to select something different, like, let's see, 1, gotta plug that in. I can't tell, but that light is on, so that means we're in memory address 1. And this is the data in memory address 1. As you can see, it's different from what was in memory address 0. And we have this pattern programmed in here with this dip switch, so I think we can just go ahead and change what's in there by pushing this button. That'll program this data into that memory address. So that did that, and so now that's in there, and we can go back to, what is it, 0? And that's what was in 0. So let's make a more recognizable pattern. Let's invert this here. So this is going to be the opposite of what we have in memory address 1. So let's just go ahead and program that. So this is what's in memory address 0, and if we go back to memory address 1, it should be what was in there. And that's true. So you can see how that works, but this might be a little confusing for you. So it's a little confusing for me too. So I drew up this little diagram. I don't know if it really makes sense, but we have this road and a bunch of houses. So what each house is, it has an address. So let's say this is at address 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and so on. So at memory address 1, we don't have anything. So at memory address 1, we don't have anything yet. But say we push the button to program a certain pattern in, and then that programs a 1 there. So now we have a 1 at memory address 1. So if we go to memory address 1, we're always going to have 1 unless we program it differently. And then we can move on to a different memory address by using the dip switches and changing that to something else. But right now, so if we change it to memory address 2 in binary, that would be right here. So then we could program something like a 5 in there. And then that'll be in memory address 5 until we reprogram. So it's kind of just like memory is arranged as addresses. And so each house has a different address. And so each section of memory is going to have a different address as well. And you can store different things in those addresses. And so that's kind of how this works. And basically that's what we got so far. So this is how the storage is going to work for our computer, and eventually we're going to have to upgrade this because this is not enough storage for our eventual goal of running Pong. But for now, this is going to have to work, and we'll modify it later. So, other than that, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you back soon.